Hello, it's Jay here for another no video. Video number 10, of which is a part of me helping myself keep focused on working on my speech patterns, whatever they might be. That is trying not to fill my speech with all the no ums and no ahs, which actually I've been focusing a lot on clear articulation lately, so it's not a bad thing for me to actually remember to recenter things in, hey, I'm trying to speak to the camera without doing all my ums and ahs and all my filler words. So let's go through this little list here just to remind myself this is definitely videos for myself so I can do this. So number one, close mouth tight at the end of sentences for a couple of days. It's not a bad thing just to say, okay, we come to an end of a sentence. We don't need to fill the rest of the sentence with anything else. Just finish the sentence. Nervous laughter, another filler thing. Number two is being comfortable with the silence. And indeed, I get a silence and I start chuckling into it because it makes me feel nervous. The chuckling is a nervous reaction. So just to try and go, all right, a pause is fine, silence is fine. It helps highlight things. It helps draw the listener into the conversation. Number three is to record and to listen to myself. I have no trouble with the recording myself. I often find I get to these videos on these days and it's like, oh, okay, I better listen to myself. I think the only other time I always make a practice of listening to myself is because I've filmed a video that I'm planning on releasing for other people to listen to. I will then listen to it back to find out, do I need to make massive cuts in the video, or am I having you have good days I have good days with my speech and I have bad days where I will fall back down into habits of umming and ahhing a lot. There's always a little bit there, but those are the cases where I will actually listen to myself. I should try and I think part of our practice might be just to say, all right, you read out poems each day, and those are pretty short videos. Listen to one of those videos. Though I'm not worried about umming and ahhing with those videos. Those videos is probably would be about articulation. It'll be in videos where I'm speaking contemporaneously, extemporaneously, and with or without notes, where I probably will fall into the umming and ahhing. So in other words, listening to a poem video is not the way to go, but listening to a dark episode, that's my consistent. I always do a dark episode each day, sort of my video journal entry for the day, where I will babble at the end of the night, often tired, often pretty loose. That's a good spot to find out how my speech patterns are doing at perhaps the most casual level. Good idea. So yeah, that is one thing I should try and make a practice of. It's like listen to at least a selection of myself talking in one of those dark episode from the day before each day. That would be a good practice to get into. Number four is replace a period or a pause with actually saying it out loud or imagining it. It's a good way to try. If I continue to have a lot of trouble with umming and ahhing, I think I will do that. If not, I will probably skip it. Yeah, I will probably skip it. Number five is take a pause and a breath, which I'm trying to do. It's one of these things. It's like I can feel myself tensing up. This is oftentimes the most tense video because I'm the most self-aware of how I'm speaking. I'm actually less self-conscious when I'm talking about something other than speech. When I'm talking about a book, oftentimes I can then slip into ums and ahs, but I'm also a lot more relaxed. I feel like when I'm doing a no ums video, I'm the most tense I'm going to be, the most self-conscious, the most critical, and that's probably why my breaths come out as panting. Number 6 was to make a list of filter words. That is stuff like thing, actually, basically, so, yeah, which still comes up in my speech, in my reviews. I'm trying to be more aware of it and make an effort to say, well, no, I just said thing versus what word do I actually want to use there, and put that word in, and then try not to use filler words like thing, basically, like those sort of words. I'm trying. It's all measure. It is all a ongoing process. Number 7 is the bell, which I've never done. That is, supposedly you hit a bell every time you say or someone around you would be empowered to ring a bell every time you said Haven't done that. I do when I catch myself saying I'll go no ums, no ahs to myself or out loud in a video that isn't going public. I try and make an effort to do that. Yeah, I might have even done it in a couple of videos that have gone public, which is fine. That's just me trying to, as again, get that consciousness going, figure things out. Number 8 is breaking sentences into chunks, then taking the pause. And there's the miniature chunks, which could be the commas, and then there's the major pauses, which is the end of the sentence or the end of a thought. Number 9 is to make eye contact, and for me, for my purposes, for videography, it is to look into the camera here. I find that is me working on concentration, and I find that if I'm concentrating, my speech will come out a lot clearer and a lot more concise, and I won't fall into those bad habits. That said, there's going to be a little bit of eye break every once in a while, or else I'll be staring into the camera like a madman, which, who knows? I'm not self-aware enough to know if I'm a madman or not. Number 11 is hands out, gestures, which depending on how relaxed I am, the hands are more out than others. I think at the moment, it's funny, this is video number 10 of this. I'm still fairly stressed about talking about how I speak. So the hands can get clamped down, where if I take them out and just let them rove around, it's much easier. Hopefully not to the point of distraction, but enough to, engage my entire body in the process. So, and number 12 is short sentences. So you're not getting lost in a long rambling thing, which is hard for a viewer to follow. This isn't text. So it is much easier to break things up into short sentences, deliver that sentence, and then move on to the next thought, but not to try and jam a ton of thoughts into one sentence. It makes it much more friendly for the viewer and much easier for myself to deliver. Number 13, cutting out the hedge words. These are words like probably, hopefully, sort of, which I think as still a beginner speaker, that is probably a good rule of thumb to have, to just cut them all out and then slowly reintroduce the ones that are actually there for a reason. That makes sense to me. Number 14 is prep, which is very much have an outline going into, especially a review or something like that, or a tag. Have some bullet points that you can deliver. That helps you break things down into more manageable thoughts, and more manageable sentences. You can, and you're not going all over the place and sort of casting your mind. And it also makes it more efficient and punchy. Number 15, remember, nobody really cares about this stuff other than yourself. If you're an annoying, boring speaker, people just tune out and don't listen. They don't watch your videos. So the people who are going to stick around are going to be the most supportive, and hopefully the better you get at it, the more people will stick around and will have enjoy your videos, which is what you're going for. But really, nobody cares about this as much as you care about this, and nobody is being as critical about your speech as you are. Nobody is putting yourself, I've been putting myself under a microscope now for 10 videos. Nobody else is willing to put this much effort in to both criticizing and to trying to improve my speech other than myself. So relax. You can do this to your heart's content, and nobody else is going to give a shit. The biggest critic is the one that you're carrying in your head. So yeah, that was a good thing, just to kind of review that stuff, because I can tell it's still there. The tension of it is still in my body. This week I did, as a part of my ongoing thing, I am selecting a speaker improvement video, watching it, taking notes on it, and then reporting back here, which is what I've done. I did a useful vocal scale for speakers, video by Darren McStay, where he took a concept from Kristen Linklater from her book Freeing the Natural Voice, and it's called the Linklater Vowel Tree. And this is an idea of freeing up of trying to open up your vocal scale. People talk very monotone, can talk in a very monotone way, which can get kind of boring to listen to. So this was a way of thinking about stuff, a little bit la la wah wah, I have to say, way of spreading out spreading out all those vocal sounds all over the body. And I made my very own extremely crude version of this, which I haven't really incorporated. I don't know how I incorporate this in actual speech. McStay was very kind of clear in saying, he hasn't someone who's been trained to teach this method. He has been taught in the method, but he hasn't been taught how to teach the method. But as a way of just an introduction to a way of thinking about how you can open up your vocal range and loosen up your body, loosen up, be less rigid, which I think when I get the most nervous, it's like it's all in my voice here, and you have to kind of you feel like you're having to force things out. Whereas the big thing that a lot of his videos, he's the primary fellow that I've been doing. He does regular weekly videos, and I think like having that little poke weekly, like, oh, here's another video, is a good prompt for me to continue working on this stuff. This is kind of an imaginative way of thinking about where sounds come from in your body, and sort of like a free play. So that's very much this is very much thinking like, okay, from your legs and your pelvis, just imagine that the zoo sound comes, zoo, and then from the belly it's whoa, and then from the solar plexus is sure, and the chest it's goo, and the heart it's ma, and from the lips it's boo, and from the mouth it's ma ha 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 ha, and from the cheeks it's the cheekbones is deh deh deh, and from the eyes it's peh 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 peh, and from the forehead it's ki ki ki, and from the crown of the head it's he can do a trill, but it's like a very high tree 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 tree. So you got tree and you got zoo, tree zoo, which is all nonsense. Everything is coming from your voice, but it's an imaginative way of thinking. Ah, ma, ah. It's where you can kind of work on getting a more interesting sounding voice, because if you're just talking in one tone the whole way through the whole video, people will not listen. It will hypnotize them and it will make them fall asleep. Whereas you've got the I'm talking about this part, but then there's this mind-blowing part. It's just amazing, amazing. I don't know if I'm going to be talking a high-pitched voice, but amazing. And ma 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 goo. It seems complete nonsense. It's one of these things that I'll put this up here to kind of remind me to look up the Linklater method. See if there's other Linklater teachers on YouTube that would maybe give me a little bit more of an introduction. And it's kind of, you got the concept of all these places that sounds might come out of your body. Not, it's, how do you put it? It's a way of freeing up your mind, so that you're going, I am talking from here. I'm talking from my legs and from my hips, or I'm talking from my heart. I'm talking from my heart here. I don't know. It still seems, there's a part of me that think this is nonsense bullshit, but there's another part of me thinking it's like, okay, well, this is play. This is how to play with your voice, and it's an instrument, and I want to learn how to play my instrument well and make it engaging that sort of way. It's one of these things of I get these little sparks of wanting self-improvement, and how that gives me a sense of accomplishment to go from someone who's maybe a slightly stuttery, someone who's using a lot of ahs, and all that, to someone who can just relax and use their voice like an instrument. I'm not wanting to be a singer. I'm wanting to be an effective speaker. I'm wanting to be an effective communicator. I'm wanting to communicate how much I'm excited by what I'm reading on this channel, on the other channel for the most part. So yeah, and I mean, I think that sums up a lot of my no ums, no ah project. It's got a very negative title, but it's more like, let's improve, let's be the best speaker, let's be the most engaged, best kind of version of myself possible, that I can manage with a little bit of study and spending absolutely no money, because I have no money to spend. It's all going on to a deck and food and gas, and, well, not as much on gas because I bike, but on my bike and all that stuff. And yeah, it's a great little hobby to have, because all I need to bring is my voice. I have that, and it's something I carry around with me. So it's something that having developing skills, talent, is something I can carry around with me, that transcends any gadgets I have here, or my super high tech viewfinder blocker, so I actually look into the camera lens. So yeah, that I think that's a good sum up of my no ums, no ahs efforts this week. I've been Jay. More videos later.